Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to Trade Setup in the afternoon wrap for the 2nd of November. Okay, we'll go through the price action today, which was very negative today on the ASX 200. We'll just go through a few levels and key levels which got hit today. We'll also take a look at the Aussie dollar. We'll go through spot gold, and we'll also take a look at the S&P 500, the action from last night, and what could be possibly look for in tonight's trading. Okay, starting with the ASX 200 on a daily basis, we can see the market's really pushing down. That's really pushing down to that support zone. Depending on where you put it, it's either broken or it hasn't broken just yet, but it's not far off it. It's going to push right into that, well, you expect to drive into that zone. It's had a low around that 52.06 mark there. Remembering this is a CFD, you can see just drill out a bit there. You can see that major support at 47.77, and it's been working its way off there with higher lows, but it's just recently stopped making higher highs, and it's actually made a major lower high there. So price potentially could be contracting in on itself, and then we get a breakout to the top side, but at the moment we are a bit cautious on what's happening. So it could potentially, if it can drive through that 51.60 zone, break out of this sort of uptrend, drive through that zone, even test it, then I think there's going to be a few negative traders around. So we'll see how that plays out. Looking at the action on the 30-minute chart here, you can see the market's actually, it drove through that support at 52.63 overnight, and then just bounced slightly into the close, and then we've opened up during the day, and that was pretty much it, the high of the open, and just drove down from there as we would have expected after last night's action in the US. Did bounce slightly just off those overnight lows, and then made that lower high at 52.50, and then just drove down harder later on in the session, and we've just finished pretty much on the lows today. So we'll see what happens in the US tonight, and whether we do get a bounce in the US just to drag us back up, and we could potentially just be capped at 52.63 or push back up above that resistance zone there and then roll over again. So at the moment, this trend, even on the half an hour chart, is down. There's no real key levels on the downside. Really, just it's a zone where if buyers are happy to step in on a daily basis, they'll do that. Otherwise, we'll just keep an eye on things from here. Okay, you can see the price action on the 1 hour chart for the Aussie dollar. Now, this is the RBA announcement. We had that really strong push up. It's not the announcement, the statement on the minutes there. Push up into that resistance zone around that 76.80, 85 mark, and then it sold off right back down to where it started at 76.20, or that area down there. So it did the same type of thing after CPI figure. You know, quite a strong CPI figure, straight up into resistance, held that lower high, and then pushed back down, and we actually took out these lows at that 75.90 mark. So we'll see what happens. It could do the exact same thing. You've made that major lower high, and that trend down is holding, and we're just getting a major a squeeze to the top side, and then it rolls over. It is an oversold territory, so it may have to bounce a bit, and then get some buyers to step in and then wash them out as we head lower. But we'll have to see how that goes tonight, and what happens in the US to where it's going to lead us. Okay, looking at spot gold, it's an interesting one here. We've got support that's formed at 12.50, and that's been holding, and we've taken out a few of those inside highs as we pushed up to about 12.75. Rolled over a bit, just contracted a bit lower, and held the 12.62 zone, which we did touch down on that zone a few times and flush out a few short traders. We did have that, we were looking to make a minor high low at 12.64. We had that flush lower down to 12.62 again, and then that's sort of been the start of that leg up through 12.85. We had that initial thrust up, contracted a bit lower, and then built that inside higher low, and then we pushed up again. So interesting to note that initial leg up, if we take that same distance and project it up from that 12.62 to 65 mark, we're hitting up a potential where we could expect a bit of a major rollover, a bit of a major correction. We'll have to see how that plays out. We are heading up towards that 13.05 mark, which was a recent breakout zone, which we had some serious selling. So to see if we do actually push up there, start rolling over, and then we may come back up to make a lower high and then have a deeper correction from there. It's all obviously up in the air at the moment. We'll have to see how that plays out. Last but not least, we'll take a look at the S&P 500. Now, major sell-off last night, and we were expecting that. We saw that push down to that originally at 21.10, and then we had a serious bounce. It really rejected that zone and come up, made a higher low at 21.15, and then pushed back up. But the thing is, it was making for quite a while now. It's make those lower highs and just been putting pressure on the downside. We did have that initial sell-off here, back down to 21.15, bounced back up with higher lows, back up to make a major lower high again, and we can see that lower high just in here at 21.48. That's held, and the market's been just really grinding lower for a while until we had that bit of a flush of 21.22, bounce back, and then that major sell-off overnight last night, and that's taken us straight through that 21.10 zone. Now it'd be interesting to see. We just drill out a bit here. It'd be interesting to see if that that low can hold, and that's just a major flush of 21.10, and then we work our way back up into that zone, potentially up through 21.15 up to 21.22, and make a major lower high, and then push back down even lower. So be interesting to see. I guess it's got a lot to do with Trump, and if he is taking the lead for sure, and it does look like getting close into the elections, he's ahead. I expect a bit more selling, and then also we've got on top of that a potential rate rise in December, which is going to cap the market. If those numbers keep looking good, there's a few factors working and just putting pressure on this overall market. So anyway, thanks for joining us again today. We'll speak to you tomorrow. And don't forget, traders, you can go to our YouTube channel to subscribe. Just go to www.youtube.com/c/TradeSetup AU, and you can view all the uploaded videos we've taken so far.